Welcome to the Full Force Combat brand new bare knuckle podcast, and no better place to start today with the president of UK BKFC, Mr. Andrew Bakewell. How are we doing, Mucker?
Yeah, good mate. Nice to meet you, Dan.
No, thank you for jumping on. But before we tuck in to the card that's coming up in the UK in Manchester, let's get a bit more background information on yourself. How did you fall into combat sports, mate? And was it like boxing, MMA, Muay Thai? What was your field?
I've done Thai boxing since we were about 13. I competed pro since we were about 22 till probably professionally about 35, 36. Yeah, like 20 pro Muay Thai fights. I've competed in everything really. I've competed MMA, bare knuckle boxing, lift weight, MMA. I had about 45 fights altogether.
Nice.
Yeah, now I'm coaching. I've got a gym with Stephen Wiggins called Lanarchy Martial Arts over in Bolton.
Nice. So how did it fall into BKFC then? How did you fall into that role from transitioning from your coaching and the fighting?
We started off a previous company called BFBA years ago. That was probably started about 10 years back that, when it all first started blowing up, the bare knuckle scene, when it was like we couldn't even get venues or anything like that. So we first started off doing like car parks and abandoned mills with a friend of mine called Nav Anwar. Then we ended up doing about 13 shows. We went legit with it all when we could get venues. It's about 2 or 3 shows. We went into proper venues and stuff. It's kind of built it from the ground up, really. Yeah, we did 13 shows on the BFBA. Then we got acquired by BKFC. After helped, who's done a bit of matchmaking on the first card they did at Wembley. Yeah, David liked what we've done. We'd worked with him a little bit in the past in this Total Line Fight Series event. And yeah, it just gave us the opportunity to run the UK franchise at BKFC over here.
Absolutely. And since you've managed to get your teeth into it, how successful and happy have you been with the previous UK shows?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of them haven't gone completely to plan. Sometimes a bit chaotic with planning of the events and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we've done a great job with sort of tools we've had to work with it at the time. But yeah, we've built it great over the last couple of years. I think it's got to a really good level now. And we're really just about to sort of make the next step to take it up a level.
Absolutely, taking it to mainstream, because I think each combat sport has their own niche, but with bare knuckle, there's not many decisions, and that's what people live for. They live for knockouts, don't they? So
it's just exciting. I mean, even if they do go to 5 rounds, it's just a 5-round war, especially when you've got 2 good, really tough, durable, aggressive lads. It's crazy to watch, to be honest with you. So I love it. I got best seats in the house, sitting there every time watching it all. But yeah, no, I'm a massive combat sports fan. There's nothing more exciting than bare knuckle.
Absolutely, there's nothing like a big fight night, is there? So your relationship with Feldman and McGregor, how often are you in contact with those guys? And is it like a day-to-day thing? Like, what's your role with them?
I mean, our contacts with David Feldman, really have a great relationship with David. I've been working with him for the last 5 years. He's a great guy. He helps us out, gives us advice whenever we need it. He's done loads for us over here. Connor, we've met Connor before. We're not in contact particularly a lot with him. He messages every so often, just wishing us well and stuff. But other than that, I think he's coming over to the next Manchester card, hopefully. It'd be great to see him. It's just great to see him down at the events, and such a high-profile, successful guy. Involved with the sport. It's just huge for the entire thing.
Absolutely. I'd seen a thing with Dave Feldman yesterday. It was on an Instagram. I think it was an Instagram live with somebody, and he asked the question: should he step into the cage, into the ring? Sorry. Do you think he'd do well in there?
David was ex-pro boxer, wasn't he? He's fought bare knuckle a few times himself. Yeah, he mentioned this to me the other day. I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. But listen, if he wanted to do it, I'm pretty sure he'd be capable enough to do it still, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, bring himself back for one last hurrah. Why not? But yeah, the roadmap for 2025. How's that looking? We've got the Manchester card, but are we due any more announcements soon? And what cities can we look forward?
This year's going to be the biggest year we've had so far, to be honest with you. We've got some huge plans. We're doing a huge show planning down in Birmingham soon. In the summertime, we should have the date fixed for it by the end of the week. Yeah, to be honest with you, the number of ex-pros that are coming over now is crazy. It's just really taking that next step up in terms of level of fighters and stuff like that. It's good to see because it's been a long time coming. I mean, the Americans are ready to get behind it and really give it a push over here now.
Absolutely, it is flowing into the mainstream. So, with the matchmaking side, do you have a hand in that?
Yeah, it's just me who does the matchmaking over here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My partner just handles pretty much everything else and just leaves me to deal with all the fighters and stuff.
Absolutely. And how do you find that? Do you love it? Can it be challenging? But do you love it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's definitely stressful. It consumes a lot of time, but yeah, no, I wouldn't swap it for any job in the world.
Absolutely. Well, I can say that the card that you've matched in Manchester coming up in just a few weeks' time is insane. Some of the names on there, like you said, the ex-pros that are coming out. We've got Jack Cullen making his bare knuckle debut. How did that come about? Did you approach him? Did he approach you? How did that come about? How does your relationship work with Jack?
Yeah, I kind of. I've known Jack. We live in the same town, so we kind of knew each other anyway. Like, I think he reached out saying he was. I think I might have reached out to him and said, "Look, I am interested." When I had a coffee shop around the corner from us, sat down. He said, like he'd lost. He's fallen out of love with pro boxing a bit, so he wanted to come over. Still wanted to fight. Wanted to come over and give this a try. So it's great to see. Jack's a top lad. He's everyone in Bolton's followed him for years. He's a great pro boxing career.
Little Lever's meat cleaver.
Yeah. No, it's great. He's got a top fight. It's going to be a great fight to watch as well because Jacob Kalinski gave Stevie Taylor, who's another pro boxer from around here, a really good fight. And he's now dropped down the weight to take on Jack. It's going to be a big fight, that.
Absolutely. It's set up to be a banger. And the card is stats all the way through, but the working our way down, we've got unbeaten Jono Chipchase in the main event. And that's a banger, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Gary Fox has never been in a dull fight in his life.
No, against Gary Fox. I'm trying to reach out to Gary and both of them to try and get them both on. It'd be interesting to get their thoughts leading up to it. But it's for the UK welterweight title. It's going to be a big one to headline it in Manchester.
Yeah, it's a great clash of styles again. I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, Jono's knocked everyone out in the first round, and Gary's never been stopped. So it's going to be fun to watch. They're two of my favourite fighters anyway. Them two do. I've seen Gary in some states like his face been smashed to pieces, and he's just never taken a step back. And Jono, I think, as soon as Jono lands clean on anybody in his previous fights, he's ended the fight. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that pans out.
Absolutely. Now I've seen a podcast with the No Bones boys. I think it was with Danny Mitchell, and he still plans on trying to fight MMA again, but he's dipping his toe into the water here, doing the bare knuckle again. How did that come about? Did you approach him? Did he approach you? Because I knew he was hungry for a fight. I know he had something booked, but that was only on the regional scene in MMA.
Yeah, well, we were originally looking at Stevie Taylor versus Danny Mitchell. That was the first fight we were looking at.
Right, okay.
And I think Danny got approached by GLC. Is it GLC that's just popped up in America? Big Saudi-backed MMA company. It signed with them, but it turned out then they didn't have anything planned for him around a similar sort of time. So somebody reached out and said he was still interested in getting on the card. But Stevie had already been rematched by then, so we pulled him in at the last minute and found something for him. But to be fair, it's been a good fight. The lad is fighting. He's no muppet. He was a very good amateur boxer. He's fought some really good names, beating some really good names in amateur boxing.
Absolutely. What other standouts are on the card for you? You match the whole card, so to just tell us the main standouts here. I've got a few up there. Kroll versus Luke Nevin. Luke Nevin's planning on transitioning back.
Yeah, Kroll's now fighting Lionel Levecchi.
Okay.
Yeah, Luke Nevin injured his hand. I think back in the last week. We just released that yesterday that it's been changed, that fight. Looking down at it. That's going to be a great fight. I think Matthew Hodson versus Danny Morris should be fun to watch. Yeah. Gaz Cullen, he was world champion of my former company, BFBA, before we got acquired by BKFC. He's making a comeback after about 5 years out against Chilinski, who gave Kyle Thompson a really good run for his money in his last fight. So that should be interesting. Jimmy McCraw is making a comeback. He's fighting Luke Cahoon, who won his debut on the last Newcastle card we did. Matilda Wilson's coming back against Sinead, an Irish MMA fighter. She trains down with Brad Pickett in London. That should be a good fight. Matilda always comes and turns up. What else we got? Stevie Taylor, Conor Cook's going to be great. That's going to be a really interesting fight. Them two really top level boxers. It's going to be a real technical bout, that. Then Dec Spelman making his debut as well. Dec Spelman, he trains Rico Franco. He's a really good pro boxer. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Yeah, some good classes like the pro boxers versus the MMA fighters, and it's a different sport, though, isn't it? It's, you know, if you come in and train for a pro boxing fight, it really isn't pro boxing, and they're going to be dealing with other styles that are going to be throwing shots from different angles that they're used to, coming at a different tempo. It is they've got to brace themselves. They think they're going to have like a little walk in the park because somebody may not have competed at similar sort of level to them in terms of pro boxing. They've been for a shock.
Absolutely, not just the styles, because it is absolute carnage. It's the ring as well that's different. Do you think that can play into the minds a little bit sometimes when the
it's a good middle ground, isn't it? You can't really get backed into a corner. It gives the skilled fighters opportunity to circle out whenever they need to. It's great. It suits them. It's a good class, good middle ground for the MMA fighters and the pro boxers. And again, not many people have worked just boxing in that sort of environment, so it's still working itself out. How people are using the ring, how sort of they're reacting when they get hurt and circling out. And yeah, it's good. I love the ring, to be honest with you. It's a good concept.
Absolutely, definitely it is. It's a brilliant concept. And another thing that's brilliant is the choice of venue for Manchester. It's at the home of Manchester Storm, Planet Ice in Altrincham. I think it seats normally about 2,300 or something like that. But with the seating on the floor, how many fans are we looking to get into the arena for BKFC?
2,500, yeah.
2.5, yeah.
Yeah. It's good. No, we'll have it filled as well. There's only a couple of tickets left now, so I think over the next few weeks when it really picks up.
Absolutely, because there's some really good ticket sellers on there as well. So I bet they flew out, like I said, only a few hundred tickets left, which I'm sure they'll be gone way before fight night. But is there a long-term goal for the UK in terms of doing bit bigger arenas? And maybe a fan asked a question when I put it on Instagram: would you be coming to Ireland anytime soon?
Ireland's not something I'm going to have any part of. I don't think. I'm assuming Conor McGregor's going to be handling that side of things in his team over there. But we are going to be doing Wales. We are going to be doing Scotland at some point this year.
Nice.
And arena-wise, yeah, after this Manchester event, we're stepping up to really pushing it out because, like I said, we're bringing in some really top-end ex-pros going forward. So the level of events we're going to do is just going to skyrocket next.
Absolutely, and it's crazy to say as well, isn't it? It's only just in its infancy, and it's just surging through the roof the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's still a million miles away from what it's capable of, the sport. So I think once gyms are coaching it regularly and building up like ground roots, bare knuckle fighters and stuff like that, it's not even hit that stage yet. This sport in 20 years' time is going to be incredible. It's like MMA. I mean, I was around when MMA was in the same sort of process. We had to go all the way to Cage Steel in Leeds to get that was the nearest cage to where we were. So we used to go down there every so often and just get the feel of being in a cage. But look where MMA is now. And this is going down exactly the same route.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. It's been great to chat tonight, and I'm really looking forward to the event because it's going to be my first bare knuckle fighting championship event. So, what can I expect on March 29th?
A very exciting evening. Yeah, don't blink.
Yeah, I'm absolutely. Yeah, I am. I'm ecstatic for it because, like I said, I know a few of the pros, and I just think the styles. It's just a lot different than pro boxing.
It is.
It's a bit of everything rolled into one.
If you try and sit in the pocket, you're in for a rough night. You got to get on your toes a bit. It's crazy. It's just like I said, the sport's still working itself out. So there's no sort of set way of doing it. Everyone's sort of figuring out as they're going. I think until they get cracked off that first bare knuckle, you never know how they're going to react either. They've got to really want it when they come in here.
Absolutely. Andrew, thank you very much for the chat this evening. And like I said, looking forward to it. And I'm sure I'll see you at the event and speak to you again soon.
Yeah, nice chatting to you, mate. Thanks a lot for having me on.